According to a Yoruba proverb, dangerous play begets nothing but trouble. The danger in the ongoing face-off between the federal government and the Academic Staff Union of Universities, ASUU, is that it is bringing more troubles. The Nigerian Labour Congress, NLC, has written to the Minister of Labour and Employment, Senator Chris Ngige, to withdraw the certificates of registration issued to the Congress of Nigeria University Academics, that's CONUA, and the Nigeria Association of Medical and Dental Lecturers in Academics, NAMDA, by the ministry. In a letter, the NLC said the action violates the Trade Unions Act on registration of new unions, where one already exists. Jide, what's this politics about? I thought the posture of ASUU is going to be like, we're not perturbed, let them register as many trade union centers they want to register, but ASUU is still ASUU. ASUU is still the most formidable. So yes. Why are they crying now?
No, but the law is the law. The law is the law. So your attorneys, your lawyers will advise you on different steps. The Yorubas will say, "Oh, no, as far as they are concerned, the law is clear. And don't forget, it is even the NLC president, the person who sits at the top of all industrial unions in our country, that is writing to the minister now, that, come on, you can't do this. It's against the law of the land." Let me read out the content of Section 3, Subsection 2 of the Trade Union Act that the NLC president is quoting. He said, that portion says, "No combination of workers or employers shall be registered as a trade union, save with the approval of the minister on his being satisfied that it is expedient to register the union, either by regrouping existing trade unions, registering a new trade union, or otherwise, howsoever. But no trade union shall be registered to represent workers or employers in a place where already exists a trade union." You can see that that portion is clear. But the minister is saying that a portion of that Section 3, Subsection 2 says, save with the approval of the minister on his being satisfied that it is expedient to register the union. So he is saying that there is a lacuna there. That he's saying that the law permits him,
the minister,
that the law permits him that he can use his judgment. You say, okay, it is expedient to register this this union, but it is not the minister that registers. It is the registrar of trade unions that has that mandate. And Ngige, this is not his first time of registering a body within another body, a workers' union within a workers' union. And the last time he did that, the courts threw away the action of the minister. So if precedent is to be followed, it is safe to say Minister Ngige has merely wasted his time. And I will go to that one, because since the minister said that he uses the law to fight, we will show him where he tried to use the law to fight and he failed. Now, in January 2013, the registrar of trade unions refused to register the non-teaching staff union of polytechnics. The argument of the registrar of trade union was that there already existed another trade union that covers the jurisdiction of non-teaching staff of polytechnics. Therefore, the law did not permit him to register them. What did they now do? 8 years later, they appealed. They didn't appeal all these years. So They appealed 8 years later to the current Minister of Labor and Productivity. They appealed to him that they were treated unfairly, that he should register their body. Then on the 24th of August 2021, an approval was given in form of a letter sent to the General Secretary of the Non-Teaching Staff Association of Polytechnics by the minister. Of course, it was challenged in a court of law, and the court ruled that that certificate of registration that was issued to them should be withdrawn immediately. It should be withdrawn immediately. And the court, in giving that decision, did not only say that the case lacked merit, it also looked at the merit of the case, just so that they would know where they failed. And it was the same section 3, subsection 2 that the court cited, because there is no ambiguity where it says, where that section 3, subsection 2 says, no trade union shall be registered to represent workers or employers in a place where already exists a trade union. So the court said, the court refused to bear in mind that portion that's talking about the discretion of the minister. In any case, this is the Register of Trade Unions that the judgment is directed that you shall not register where there already exists a union representing that. You know, this whole thing during the Obasanjo years, when we were having all kinds of unions here and there, in order to ensure that we do not have industrial chaos, they then decided that no, we must do something about this proliferation.
Consolidated them.
Yes. Now, look at, we are in 2022. We are trying to bring back something that was done at a time to solve a problem. So,
and there's this other body, Nigeria Association of Medical and Dental Lecturers in Academics.
And that one has been on for a long time. It even precedes Ngige.
That's different from the Nigerian Medical Association.
Because they said they are a peculiar set.
Resident doctors.
That they should now be treated the same way that NMA is being treated. Of course, they lost because the Act of 77 was very clear. What they tried to do was to bring everybody together in likeness so that there will be no room for mushrooming anymore. But they've been on this matter for a while, and I think the moment he became minister, they were the first petition that went to his table, that they want to be separated from ASUU. And I see the opportunity now to join in with whatever I thought was going on, and then make a case for it. We can never stop it, because what Obasanjo did, remember, some unions went to court because they thought they were being bundled together with string bedfellows. But the law was very clear. If you talk like a dog and you walk like a dog, all things will call you a dog. So if your job resembles your job, so I will put you together so you can form a union. But even with that, there will be union dissenting voices throughout the history of the Nigerian Union as we know it. Especially when they're having problems with the federal government, as we have presently. What the minister is doing wrong is missing out the point of why the NLC Act of 77 was promulgated. And it's only laying emphasis on areas that give him actionable elements that he can work with. What they need to do, I told some people on radio this morning, academic, dental and medical something should go to court and ask the court to force the Register of Trade Unions to register them. They can't go to the minister. It will be thrown out. So let the court tell you whether you have the right to stand as apart. But they thought because
you are trying to exploit the crisis.
The fact that it's enough. So that's where we run. But knowing Nigerians will do, this matter will still end up in court. But you don't do any favors for the matter of our children resuming that all of us are looking for in the last 7 months.
Let me read that judgment. The judgment that was delivered just some months ago. So in the very recent past, the minister had lost a case in which he issued a certificate, and the court said
Asking to
withdraw it
withdraw it.
immediately because there was already a union representing those people. So he said, it is declared that the claimant, being a creation of statute with its jurisdictional scope specified under Item 27 of Part B of the third schedule of the Trade Unions Act, the first and second defendants cannot by administrative fiat factionalize same by giving approval to the registration and or issuing a certificate of registration to the third defendant as a new trade union to take over the area of the claimant already, the claimant already exists and statutorily covers. The approval and registration of the new trade union, known as non-teaching staff union or polytechnic, since the claimant's jurisdictional scope covers all non-academic workers employed
By the Polytechnic.
employed publicly and privately owned, employed in publicly and privately owned educational, research and associated institutions, including polytechnics, and it is already in existence where the purported new union desires to operate is hereby withdrawn. So that's the
That's the law of the land.
accordingly, the first and second defendant are hereby ordered to withdraw the certificate of registration with number 0134 and dated the 7th day of December 2021, issued to the third defendant and cancel same forthwith. The law is the law. The law is the law. And as I always say on this program, the law, the constitution of our country is written in English language that we can all relate with. We don't have to go to school to read
Talking
law.
about the law now, that means the Court of Appeal has directed us to go back to class. Yes. So that should be the law.
And that's the judgment, not the law.
Not the law.
There's a difference
That's the
between court
interpretation
judgment.
of the law.
You know, the law is the law. It is the law that the courts use. A judgment, a court order may not necessarily mean the law, because even that order or judgment can be set aside by another court, by a superior court.
Yeah.
But the judgment of the superior court, the Supreme Court is a court of record. So which means that whatever pronouncement is made by the Supreme Court becomes law.
It's the law.
So this is the thing. Now, the ASUU has been told to go back to court. They've not said they will not go back. But
Go back to
as we speak now, political means are being explored. They are going to meet this evening. In fact, they were waiting for the Speaker of the House of Reps at the time when we were just getting set for this program. Because the Speaker of the House of Reps has met with them. There are a few outstanding issues. The Speaker said, look, your demand for the revitalization of universities, the infrastructure fund that they are looking for, that he will ensure that the budget takes care of that. We've seen that already with the president promising 470 billion for universities, not for other institutions.
universities.
For universities. I heard the president say that. Now, what government promised before now was 150 billion. ASUU rejected it.
So it's 400 and something
Now with
billion.
470
That will go a
billion,
long way.
that is some gain. They made some gain in that area. So in my view, that's significant. Secondly, the minister, the head of service has said, look, you have issues with IPPIS. We don't want to have multiple payment platforms. But the drawbacks, the issues around which you are complaining in respect of the IPPIS, we have identified those areas. We are going to address those concerns. Let us see what they will do in that respect. And finally, the issue of no work, no pay. That's also an issue that the Speaker is trying to address. Maybe the president will agree in the final analysis that, okay, let's pay them this so that they can. Because you can't tell a person that you have not paid him for 7 months to go and start teaching. they can obey the court order because the court order says resume. You can resume and not teach. In fact, some of them are thinking that, yes, we sit inside our offices. But I think the the speaker can achieve so much. I only hope
By
that
political
yes,
means,
a lot of these issues are, even the health workers strike the other day, it was still political
that they used to
that
solve
they
it.
used to resolve.
Okay. This is Journalist Hangout, and I still have Babajide Kolade Otitoju and Gani Kaido Balogun in the studio, and we're still looking at the rift between the federal government and ASUU. Now, Jide, ASUU is asking the minister to deregister CONUA and those other associations.
NAMDA.
So, of what effect would this? Do you see the minister, yielding to the demand of ASUU?
He may not, he is a stubborn man, and he has said so that he's a small man. We know how stubborn that minister is, but he cannot be more stubborn than the law. Cannot be more stubborn than the law. And look, when the NLC president stepped in and quoted the relevant section of the law, even international law, you know that there must have been something that he saw. There must have been something that he saw. And this is, I've come up with this judgment, the latest attempt, the attempt before this one, that the minister made to register a rival union in the Polytechnic now, which the court said, no, you cannot. You cannot. And he also gave the order that the first and second defendant are hereby restrained from recognizing and dealing with the non-teaching staff union of polytechnics as a trade union, And it also said they are restrained from parading themselves as a trade union capable of unionizing non-academic workers, employees of polytechnics who are already eligible and bona fide members of the claimant. So it is clear. If this judgment was issued just some months back, so what are we talking about? It was late last year that the minister gave them certificates.
GKB, going by this hardline posture now, our students might not get back to their classrooms.
I think they will.
Because if this person is quoting the law and that other one is saying, I have a court of appeal law, go back to your classroom, and ASUU is saying, look.
Ayo, this is not the different thing.
Yeah.
They don't want CONUA.
No, it's not that they want to
based
go back.
on the law. The law now, the judgment says, go back. They've not come out to say they will not go back because they were given 7 days within which to comply.
I think the 7 days is reading now.
Of course, it's been reading since that last week. They were given 7 days. We've not seen the end of 7 days. And as I told you, they are meeting with the speaker. The speaker said that his meeting with the president was fruitful. I want to believe that the president agreed that some concessions must be made. And I see the decision of the president to move from 150 billion to 470 as also a major concession, which should make ASUU sit down, because you don't win when you come to the negotiation table. It's not everything that you take that you will win. Some you must be ready to concede some. The way it is now, we want the suffering of these students to end. And I'm sure that even ASUU knows that at this point, there are concessions that they must make, because that judgment, they must obey that judgment. So what do? That's why the political moves are continuing. I don't think that they've not, even their lawyer has not said that they will not comply, because they know they must comply.
The lingering strike now is like a minus against these governments. So the earlier they try and resolve the crisis, the better.
What I'm even happy about is that a few weeks ago, it looks like they are trying to kick the ball to the NLC administration. But now we see some sunlight coming out of the darkness. Remember, there was a time that the minister, Adamu, was adamant. That's either my way or the highway. But now there have been concessions, even meetings. And I want to commend the Speaker for taking it upon himself to find a solution to it. Because the promise he made about budgetary allocation is the key component in ensuring that the infrastructural bill, the one that they are worried about, come to fruition. Because what is budgeted is no longer the problem of the Minister of Labour or the Minister for Education. It's now a question of the law, according to the budget of next year.
I even think that the president has to be commended because under his administration, we've seen more payments made in respect of that infrastructure fund for universities. Now, they've paid, we now have payment made in excess of 600 billion.
Okay.